In the world, there are a ton of people that don't want to see you succeed, but how do you combat it as a singer-songwriter? It's McCall. This is Quit Your Damn Job. We're sitting down with Katie Mathews today to ask her how she got where she is and what the steps she took were to be able to block out the negativity.
So I am a singer-songwriter.
Lovely. So how did you get started into that?
Well, to summarize, I know.
We can go into it all day long.
To summarize, I started singing at the age of like 9 or 10, I think was like my first musical.
Nice. I love musicals.
Right. And it was really fun. I loved it. And then I started singing with the Utah Festival Opera, which I did for a few years. And then I was kind of like going and singing opera and then going home and listening to country.
Lovely.
And it's really funny because, like, no one in my family listened to country. No one.
Yeah.
I didn't really have an influence at all. I just liked it. And I started singing along with every country CD. You know, 'cause back then we had
back
CDs.
in the day.
Yes. And I just became, like, literally it was all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, my family would pay me to stop singing. They would be like,
That's lovely.
Katie, just go outside, or please just be
Kick
quiet.
a ball or something.
Do anything. But it became, for sure, very quickly kind of like my whole life. And I started singing and songwriting, performing very young. So by my teenage years, I was actually co-writing and going back and forth to Nashville, doing some recording and some touring, opening for quite a few people. And it just literally snowballed from there. I guess I've just always known it. I don't really know anything else other than to sing.
Yeah.
I thought about going to school for interior design.
Fun.
I did go to school for cosmetology.
Cool.
I love a lot of things, but the one constant and the one thing that I just can't like escape is definitely my music.
Yeah. What would be your like ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal is probably just to have my songs heard.
Yeah.
I don't even care what that means.
Yeah.
Or just to have people relate to them.
Yeah.
I think that's really just my main goal.
Cool.
As a songwriter, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So what have been your like biggest struggles throughout trying to pursue a career singer-songwritering?
Biggest struggles, I think, have been prioritizing time.
Yeah.
Like, time is so hard.
It is.
And you almost feel like guilt when you don't prioritize perfectly.
Yep.
And honestly, having the opportunity to make my music a priority has been a huge struggle. I've always loved to do it, and so I've made time.
Yeah.
But there's so many other things you have to incorporate too.
Absolutely. You know, that's one thing as I have been learning more and growing more and trying new things and adapting, it's become something that if I don't prioritize the things that I want to accomplish, they do not get done. And that's just the end of the story. And it's really unfortunate. It really sucks. What are your, I guess, tactics behind like prioritizing your time? Do you sit down and like calendar? Like I have my calendar and it's like color coordinated, because if it's not color coordinated, I can't like focus on what is happening when.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you know, I have my day of the week where I sit down and look at my next week. And I've learned to take it week by week.
Yep. Everything changes so quickly. It's crazy.
It does.
You'd love to have it like planned out for like months in advance. And it's like, you just can't. It's, you know.
No, there's no way. And I have found that for me, if I try to look at the month, I like won't sleep that night.
Right. It's like, crap, I got to get all of this stuff done. It's terrible.
It can be very overwhelming, and that's how I cope. I just focus like a week at a time, and you can't really you have to kind of learn how to go with the flow when
Yeah.
your schedule gets messed. And that's been a huge learning curve for me because I'm like, no, at 3
This
o'clock,
has to happen.
this is supposed to
What's
happen.
going on?
If this doesn't happen now, then how's this going to happen? So I've had to really learn how to adjust. And I'm still definitely learning that. But it's getting easier.
Yeah. And I think as time goes on and as you start learning those things, obviously, like you said, it does get easier. It's just taking it on all at once at the very beginning is like drinking from a fire hydrant, I swear, you know?
For sure.
So with your songwriting process, I want to talk a little bit about that. How do you start to find like inspiration behind your music?
I feel like it always changes. I always try to write from a perspective of what I've been through, what I experienced, but once I co-write or once I collaborate, I feel like I learn so much from that person and like the space they write from. So recently, like the past couple of years, instead of just writing from my own personal experience, I write through other people's experiences. So I may or may not have ever been around anything like that or been through anything like that, but I kind of like interview them and be like, this is how I perceive this. Yeah. Or I just take my perception of what they're going through. Yeah. But either way, it can be a story, it can be truth, it can be anything you want it to be. But I have found that if you write from the true perspective, like the really cold, hard truth, those are definitely the songs that people identify with the most.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it comes from more of a place of passion, more of a place of genuine like authenticity, that you can come forward and you can be this person. And, you know, a lot of the times people crave the genuine, people crave the authentic. So I want to go back to you talking about your experience with Nashville. What was that like?
Nashville is amazing.
Yeah.
It's very real. It is, you know, when you walk downtown, when you walk through Broadway, every single venue is going to have some form of live music.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like a gold mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you meet so many people with your exact same passion.
Yeah.
And I feel, from my perspective, living there and being a singer-songwriter, I feel like everyone was so open to help me.
Absolutely.
And to kind of take me under their wing. And, you know, that was amazing.
Absolutely.
For me. It helped me grow so much as even just a person.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just a singer-songwriter, but Nashville is very much alive.
Yeah.
And very fun, very eclectic mix of unexpected things.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love Nashville. I love everything about it.
So I want to go back to you talking about the finding your network of people, basically, with that passion. Flashback a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to be a part of a radio conference, and it's crazy to me to find these people that are passionate in the same way that I am about something that's like, you almost feel alone with it, because it's like, nobody gets it. Nobody understands that you're passionate about the why. Why are you passionate about it? So with your networking in finding these people that are also passionate, that are also willing to help you, maybe as like mentors or something, what have you found to be successful in finding people that can mentor you in the same way or in the way that you would like them to?
Basically, learning from people is 100% how you're going to be successful.
Right.
You do need to know what you want to learn and take from them.
Right.
And what you don't.
Right.
But you have to kind of appreciate where they've been, what they've been through, what they have learned, and hope and pray that they're patient enough to show you.
Right.
I do think that if we can be humble enough to learn from other people or even through their experiences, it will save you so much.
Yeah.
So much work.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think what I'm trying to say is be smart enough to shut your mouth and listen.
Yes.
And realize that people's experiences are like priceless.
They are. They
And
are.
learning from that is the smartest thing you can do.
Absolutely. You know, if you do listen to other people's experiences and you take it into your own knowledge bank or whatever you want to call it, brain, I guess that's what that thing is called, and you take it into that, you can adapt and you can be X amount of steps further than they were after having to go through those trials and hard times. Who do you look up to when it comes to music, songwriting, or just in general, just people?
That's so hard.
Yeah.
I think right now, if I could if I could write a song with somebody right now, it would probably be Miranda Lambert.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much in her music that I can relate to and identify with.
Yeah.
And she, from day one, was like a writer.
Yep.
And I love that about her.
Yeah.
And she is so true blue about this is what I want to sing about.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I think she's amazing.
Absolutely. What would you have to give advice-wise to somebody who wanted to pursue their passion as a career?
Hold on.
Yeah. It's going to get crazy.
And you really have to focus on the good because there's going to be so many overwhelming opinions.
Yeah.
And just be thankful for the opportunities.
Yeah.
And career and passion for me are almost like the same thing.
Yeah. They should be.
Yeah. They should be. I've definitely had, a dead-end day job.
Yeah, for sure.
And
they suck.
Just have the strength to not stay there.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people are afraid of what's going to happen next. Well, what if? Nobody knows until you actually do it. What if people think that it's stupid? They can suck it. I mean, really. They don't have to live your life. You have to live your life. And if you're unhappy and you're miserable doing what you're doing, stop doing what you're doing.
It's so true. I mean, I think there's so much to be said about just finding your happy.
Yeah.
And doing that.
Yeah.
And whatever you need to do to find the strength to do that.
Yeah.
By all means.
Absolutely.
A lot of time it can just be listening to negative people that tell you can't or tell you shouldn't or give you advice that they don't even know really what they're talking about.
Right. A lot of the times one of my favorite quotes actually has to do with that. And it has to do with people telling that you can't, but they're telling you can't out of a place of love and a place of compassion. And so they are, what is the word? They are basically trying to pretend that their fear is caring because that's really what it is it comes down to they're afraid of taking that step themselves. It's a projected insecurity.
Oh, for sure. I think any negativity is from a projected insecurity.
Yes.
And you kind of have to remember that, especially when it gets really hard and people are negative.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
How do I get around that? And you just kind of have to.
Yeah. What do you do to put a shield up around yourself before any sort of a performance or any sort of a situation where you're going to go that there are going to be negative people and negative vibes?
That's still something that I battle with every day. I try to find the positive people there.
Right. Then just gravitate.
Just say, this is where I want to live.
Yeah.
This is where I need to be.
Yeah.
Is in this happy place.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard not to let it get inside your head.
Right.
I think a lot of it has to do with growing up and being more mature there has definitely been times and moments where I go home and cry my eyes out and think, why? You know, why? If you don't like what I'm singing, then don't listen.
Right. It's really that simple. I mean, it's very, very simple. But again, it comes back to some of that negative feedback is criticism from other people because they're miserable in their own lives and they're just trying to project it onto you. And, you know, that's hard. That's really, really hard.
It is. And I think the main thing is just don't acknowledge it. Like, I don't believe that my song sucks. And so I have to just believe in the good about it. Right. And fortunately, I've definitely had more positive reaction than negative thus far. Yeah. But I do feel like it's becoming more and more popular to be negative.
Yeah, it is.
And that's sad.
It is. It's more rewarded almost. And, you know, honestly, how sad is it that people feel the need to come across and be negative? You know, you got to feel a little bit of empathy for them because it's like, I'm sorry that you are so miserable that you feel like this is the only way that you can cope. Like, this is the only thing that you can do is come forward and bash on the thing that I'm doing that I am loving and I am living my best life. But you're over here just saying how terrible it is. Honestly, you got to have a little bit of empathy for them, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you know, I don't think anybody feels good about themselves after they...
I can't imagine that they do.
Hopefully they don't.
I know. If you do, then I'm really sorry. Then you really...
then I really am worried. But I don't know. Hopefully they reflect on it and think, man, I don't feel good. I don't feel any better tearing anybody down. Yeah. So...
How much time do you spend like reflecting back on the way that you write or just your own day?
Not that much, honestly. Like if I start writing something and it doesn't immediately kind of like take over my life and I like finish it, then I kind of leave it where it is and it almost collects in my like thoughts I had once.
Like a little thought folder.
Yes, I have so many thought folders.
I love that.
But I don't really reflect a lot. Maybe I should more.
I don't know. I think it's just dependent on the person. Sometimes people do better by reflecting and sometimes people don't, you know. Sometimes looking back, you don't. A lot of the times people do the analogy of like you drive forward. Like you don't drive looking in your rearview mirror because that doesn't do you any good and that gets you in a car accident. Like
right, for sure.
So sometimes reflection is a good thing and sometimes reflection is a distraction.
Yes, and I feel like I try to grow so much. Yeah. And sometimes reflecting does make me see, oh wow, you know. Yeah. All that hard work has paid off and then other times it's just like oh my gosh, I can't go there. Yeah. Yep. What if this happens again?
Where's your brain space? Yep.
What if this happens again? Yep. You know, and so I just try to always focus on tomorrow is a new day.
Absolutely.
And let's make the best of that day.
Yeah, definitely. Where can people find you social media wise?
Social media. Okay. So my website, katiematthewsmusic.com has all like my Instagram handle, my Facebook, and then you can email me obviously directly.
Awesome.
Through my website.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I think if anything should be said today, it is just have the strength to be yourself and do what makes you happy. Yeah. And you can't really even think about what's going on around you. You just kind of have to like laser focus on that. And everything else will kind of fall into place. But just, have the strength to do what you want to do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Katie, thank you so much for your time. And this has been...
Thank you.
You're welcome. This has been Quit Your Damn Job.
Yeah.